I got home, or I was going to film this morning, and I found this sitting on the coffin table, which is the little coffin that Anton lives in, which is on top of a trestle table that I have, or a rolling table, whatever they call that. And this book, by the end, is like, oh yeah, somebody returned it while you were away. This is the Boomerang book. This is Concrete, Bulletproof, Invisible, and Fried by Chris Conley, and it always winds up coming back. Most books go away. I love this book because it comes back. It's a good read, and you should read that. Hey everybody, in case you're wondering what the heck this is, or you've seen a bunch of the other ones, the band wanted us to make little videos about the trip out to California and playing No Values Fest, and I'm sure those are great. The ones they did are great, but I'm not a big fan of travel type videos. It's always looks like the same thing to me. It's like, oh my God, a shot out the wing of the plane. The plane actually took off? Yes, indeed it did. Oh, here's a shot of the plane landing. The plane landed too? Yeah, that was included in the price of the ticket. Here's the audience. There was an audience? Yes, and they're waving. They're surprised that we're filming them. So I wanted to do something different. And I wanted just to tell you what the whole trip was like for me. Just sit down and talk to you. Two purposes it could serve. One, you might get to know me a little bit better. And two, I might get some more acting gigs out of this, because as we all know, I like acting gigs. Voice acting, face acting, hand acting. I will do anything acting gig-wise. I mean, not anything. Obviously, I won't do porn, but that's because nobody's asking me. So, yeah, first thing about the No Values Fest was that I'm going to be honest, I wasn't psyched for it. It was not my kind of festival. I'm more of a cold waves, terminus, verboten kind of guy. There weren't a lot of acts that I wanted to see. There were a few, and the acts I wanted to see, and I'll talk about them, were really good. But generally, I was just like, I took the gig thinking it was going to be like, what's that festival that they have? It's another festival that Golden Voice has that I will remember the name of as soon as I'm done with this. But they usually have a lot of newer bands on what I like to call the undercard. So they would have like Boy Harsher or Twin Tribes. And I thought, well, if we take this gig, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, at least there'll be somebody I want to see. Not a lot of bands I wanted to see, but the bands that I kept coming across were good. And if you went, it's no slight on you. If you went and you had a great time, terrific. That makes me very happy. Just looking at the lineup, I'm like, oh no, why can it never be a good time for Rodney? That's a question. So, and I think I was doing, if you heard me on some podcasts, and like, are you excited about upcoming shows? I'm like, no, not at all. The one reason though was heading out to LA had some appeal for me because I have a lot of friends out there. So I did get to see my buddies Matt and Ken, who I've been friends with for like 35 years. I'm friends with them since I was in my 20s. Also, I got to see my friend Jeff. Jeff is great. He was guitar teching for Joe. Just a wonderful guy. And I've been friends with him again since I was in my 20s. My friend Danny, who I've known probably, I guess, since my 20s, was out there. There's going to be a lot about Danny later on. He's going to wind up being a catalyst in this story. And then my friend Ed, I don't know if I hope I mentioned him. If I mention him now. He's a friend I've only had since I was, I guess, in my 40s or 50s. But he plays in Gentleman Junkie, and he's really become a great friend to me. Fits in great with the crowd, and it's great to have him around. Just a fun guy. And my friend Steph, who I've known since my 20s, was actually flying out from L.A. to catch this gig, because she goes out for the other concerts that they do, the ones that have Billy Idol in them, the ones that I will remember the name of. So she was coming out, so it was just going to be a big sort of reunion for everybody, which was going to be nice. I was looking forward to hanging out with people. That's for me, that was going to be the best part of this, and it turned out to be. Okay, so let's talk about the westward journey. All right, so I wound up in the way out there stuck in the middle seat the whole way. 6 hours in the middle seat. That's like being in a sensory deprivation chamber for 6 hours. It is bad. I thought I was going to exit it like the movie Altered States, where they put William Hurt in 10 tank and then he turns into a gorilla. That's pretty much where I thought I was going to head. Now, fortunately, I had a book with me. This is the good part of this. I had this book, which is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rummett, which is a really, really good haunted house book. A different kind of haunted house book. But, man, do I recommend this. I started reading it, and then I knew I had this trip coming up, so I stopped reading it. And I think I recommended it on a podcast or two without finishing it. That's how good it was. And I'm saving the rest of this for the trip. You should always have a book to read on the trip. Don't trust in-flight entertainment. In-flight entertainment is all. You know what they had on in-flight entertainment? Madam Web. And I'm like, I will watch Madam Web under one condition. You pay for my flight. And I don't think they were willing to pay for my flight for me to watch Madam Web. But they should have. They should have paid for my flight there and back if I'd promised to watch Madam Web. I mean, I haven't seen it, just going from the reviews, which involve people just filming their toilets. No. So and the other bad thing about it was the guy sitting next to me, and I have my cell phone here, I can show you what he was doing. The guy sitting next to me, as the flight began, he had the window open, and he's looking at his cell phone and flashing the light in everybody's eyes. So it's kind of like that scene from Suspiria with the knife. You know what I mean? And like, oh, just stop it, dude. So eventually he decides to go with in-flight entertainment, and he watched Madam Web. I look over, and he's watching Madam Web. I'm like, you want to shake him? No, stop. So what happened is the flight, I'm not kidding, on the way out, we had 2 medical emergencies. Not 1, 2. So you got your, you hear the little thing come over. I'm reading, you hear the little thing come over, and the thing says, if you're a medical professional, please hit your call light. And this guy, like, he's engrossed in Madam Web, but he can hear something's going on. So he takes out his headphones and he's like, what'd they say? And I'm like, are you a medical professional? And he's like, no. I'm like, then go back to Madam Web. So then a guy a few seats ahead, like an hour after or so, he calls over the flight folks, and he's like, hey, I'm having a medical issue. I'm like, oh. So when we were getting ready to land, the pilot's like, yeah, it's been an exciting flight for everyone. We have to have some EMTs come on the plane now. So don't get up and get your bags. Just wait for the EMTs to come and get these folks off the plane. And I'm like, oh, now I finally arrive in L.A. and I've got to wait for these folks. Who the hell has a severe medical condition and decides to fly 3,000 miles? Here's a tip for you, people. Okay, if you need to pack a defibrillator or some sort of kidney dialysis machine or whatever, just take the train or have somebody drive you. Maybe take the bus. So you can die like in the end of Midnight Cowboy. Rizzo, we did it. We're in Florida. So I'm thinking, well, this is the thing. I thought, well, maybe these people will die. I'll get to ride on a plane with a corpse. That'll be pretty good. There always winds up being little kids on the plane, and a lot of times little kids will crap themselves. So yeah, I'm not joking about that. So you're riding on the plane with that, oh, a little kid crapped themselves smell. It's bad. Flying is bad. But we do get there, and the EMTs get on, and it reminded me of when I used to work as an EMT. So didn't actually work as an EMT. I would for bachelorette parties, I would dress up like an EMT and come in like, hey, I understand someone needs an EMT. I wasn't asked to do this. I would just do it a lot. I'm facing a lot of charges. I am facing a variety of charges. So and by the way, I want to say something. If you're looking at a ticket that you have for a plane flight that's coming up like right now, and it is seat B or seat E, you have my sympathies, because you are going to be staring at either a book or the little in-flight cards that they have and tell you what in-flight entertainment, and it will be Madam Web. So we eventually land, and we get in the car, and we have to wait for Dave, our manager, to get the car. And we get in the car. It's this big Lincoln. We load everything in it. It's like a Lincoln SUV. It's gigantic. And it stretches all the way from L.A. back to Philly. It's huge. And we get in it, and we're headed out to the house that we're going to be staying in. And this is true. Someone tries to do that insurance thing ahead of us on the 10. On the 10 in L.A., on the freeway, this woman stops her car right ahead of us. The idea is if you stop short enough, then someone taps the back of your car. And then because they hit the back of your car, you get out and you say, oh, you hit the back of my car. Look, I won't report this insurance thing. You give me some money, and then I drive away. Or sometimes there's somebody in hiding down. They come out and they jack the car. But she got out. Dave, because this Lincoln had good braking distance, Dave stops in time and he rolls back a little bit. So she gets out and she's like, looking, she's not even going to half-hearted attempt, and she sees it's a SUV full of guys, and she's like, okay, I'll find somewhere else to pull my scam. So she drives off. But the important thing is, when you arrive in L.A., you should have something really weird happen within hours of your arrival, or it's not a trip to L.A. So eventually, though, we do get to the house, and it's about 10:30 at night, which is about 1:30 in the morning by our current biological clocks. Okay, so I want to thank our friend John right now for loaning us out one of his rental properties, because it was really, really super nice. John is the guy who brought Anton into my life. I think you can see some stuff stacked up here, but Anton's coffin table is right over here. Anton is both the friend and son I never had, and John had given Anton to my friend Dan, and Dan had driven like 3,000 miles with Anton in the trunk of his car in a box, not knowing Anton was in there. So it was quite a surprise to us when we opened it up and Anton came out. So John always has a place in my heart for Anton, and for also loaning us his rental property, which was a really super nice house, very, very large. Now, I'm not going to show you pictures of the house. Do you know why? Because it ain't my house, and I don't like to go into other people's houses and photograph them and show. Some pictures I may have accidentally leaked out from my account, but the thing is, I didn't ask John for permission to show pictures. I'm sure he'd be cool with it, but it ain't my house, and I don't want people next time we're in town turning up there, particularly if we're not staying there, figuring out where it is and knocking on the door. But it was very, very nice. Dean had a great saying about it. He said it would have been the perfect house if it had come with a cat. But there was a rabbit that would come around pretty regularly, try to eat the AstroTurf that was out back. Thought that was interesting. That rabbit doesn't stand. A coyote's going to get that rabbit. Good luck to you, Mr. Rabbit. You're probably already dead now. There were some lizards, which was fun, because we don't really get those in Philadelphia. As my friend Ken pointed out, it's like, you don't have them in Philadelphia. And then there was like a horse farm, a ranch. They don't grow horses. I call it a ranch, just down the hill. So if you went out by where the pool area was, you could look down the hill and you could see a horse. I like to see a horse in the morning, because I got up early. Why was I up early? I woke up on Saturday at 5:30, and I couldn't go back to sleep. One, I was looking forward to listening to the last podcast on the left, which is what I do every Saturday. I listen to the last podcast on the left, and this Saturday they were doing the Cannibal of Rottenburg. So you want to catch that. But also, talking about knowing about murderers, this is why I didn't sleep well the night before. For most of you watching this, California is like beautiful beaches. It's Hollywood. I can't show you the Hollywood sign because that would cost $5,000 and get a copyright strike. So just picture that in your head. It's surfing. It's all that LA stuff. But for me, California means murderers. We got the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. You had the Hillside Stranglers. You had the Golden State Killer. The last time we were out in California, I was reading the book I'll Be Gone in the Dark about the Golden State Killer, and my hotel room was on the ground floor with a sliding glass door and a little tiny communal park area right behind it. I'm like, I'm going to get murdered. So, yeah, I think about them. I think about you've got the Zodiac Killer. And then eventually Ken explained to me that on Saturday that we were just a few blocks away from where the Christmas Day Killer had struck. That was the guy who built the homemade flamethrower. Yeah, he killed a lot of people, and then eventually he was either somebody shot into the flamethrower, I can't remember, or it just naturally exploded, and he went up in a ball of flames. So I'm like, my head is just filled with California killers. I was telling everybody I was staying in the Abigail Folger room. Every room I named after a victim of the Tate LaBianca murders. I'm just like, somebody's going to come and kill me. So I did not sleep very well. Okay, so day of the show, we wake up and we have breakfast, and I have never had a decent bagel either west of the Mississippi or south of the Mason-Dixon line. And this continued the trend. Went to a bagel place. I asked for 2 bagels. I got 1, and it wasn't even my bagel. I got Joe's bagel, so we had to trade up. So already I'm off to a bad start, but things got better. Jeff came by because he was guitar teching for Joe. Always great to see him. He's producing a lot of podcasts now, and so we wound up talking about a lot of podcasts because I listened to a lot of podcasts. So that was really thrilling. And I was wearing my "Hanging with Dr. Z" T-shirt, and which will come up later. And he's actually producing the Dana Gould podcast, which happened to be a coincidence because Dana Gould does "Hanging with Dr. Z," which is one of my. I have to watch it on YouTube every time there's a new episode. So I was happy about that. I believe there's a new episode now, but I was away, so I'm running late. So I thought that was okay. You have everybody there, kind of fun. Matt and Ken were there. Danny comes over with Ken. Matt's there. It was just good to see everybody and hang out. John had called and said he wasn't going to be able to catch the show, but he would show up later, which he did. Went out that day, got some wine. I'm in charge of buying the wine. I'm married to a wine snob, so we can all hang out later and have fun, and that's good. When we get in the car and we go to the giant van, and we've got Ken and Matt behind us with Danny, and I think Jeff rode with us, and we go and we head to the show, and we hit traffic for the show like you've never. You have to go through like a state park, which is like a shortcut that you have to pay to take, and then we get in line and my friend Steph from Philly. I hope I mentioned Steph earlier. Steph coming out to the show from Philly, and Steph is texting me like, "What the hell is it with this traffic? If you haven't left already," I'm like, "We've left already." So we wind up getting there. We still have a couple hours before we play, but we get there. One thing I should say is I wound up getting exposed to sunlight, which is never good for me. I should have packed a hat. I should have packed this hat. I should have definitely packed a hat. And again, this hat would have come in handy because it's just, if you're going out where there's going to be a lot of sun, pack a hat. If you're going to a festival, pack. My grandfather used to say, "Pack extra underwear." And I'd be like, why should I pack extra underwear, Grandpa? And he'd go, "In case you go to see the Ziegfeld Follies and you shit yourself." I'm like, "It's pretty unlikely to happen, Grandpa." And he would go, "It happens." Anyway, so I get a little too much sun. I try to get some food. That doesn't help. I'm looking for my friend Ed, and eventually I find Ed. Ed's like, he'd gone off to see, I think, the Vandals. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here." So, and I think Dan found him first, and he comes backstage. So everything's good. Everybody is in their places, and then I change my clothes while I'm backstage out of my. Let me show you. Out of my awesome "Hanging with Dr. Z" T-shirt, which I'll change back into after we play. But yeah, if you don't have one of these, I'm terrible at doing stuff backwards. If you don't have one of these, you should definitely get one. A "Hanging with Dr. Z" shirt would definitely help your life. I changed, and I changed to dress like Ronan Harris from VMV Nation. I don't know if anybody got it. Ronan and I look a little bit alike, and I was wearing my VMV T-shirt, so VMV shirt. So if you see footage of that show, I just thought it'd be funny if somebody saw footage of Ronan later and thought, "Wait, I see this guy at that No Values Fest," but I didn't do the Irish accent. That comes later. So I will say, by the way, the stage was this revolving stage. It was cool in that it would switch around, so you would set up while the other band was playing, and the crew for this, they were amazing. They were really good. They totally had their act together. So I get my keyboards all set up. We tested. I'm super happy. So basically I've got everything up, and now this band before us, who I can't remember quite who it was. Sorry. They're playing, and they've got this huge crowd. Crowd stretches as far as I can see, and I'm thinking, they're here to see them. Nobody is here to see us. I don't think I'm like, nobody at this festival is here to see us. So I figure, we'll get like maybe a third of that crowd. I was wrong. Crowd was very, very large. And one of the questions I get asked all the time is, do you get nervous when you get stage fright? Does the crowds make you nervous? No. And the reason is because I've got stuff all over me. I'm really prepared for this show. I am super, super prepared. We went through the set. We constantly play it. We timed it. We know exactly how long this set is. In fact, we wound up getting a little extra time because we'd finished. And one of the guys was actually on the crew fan of the band. He's like, play one more. So, and we were prepared because of the sunlight. See, we had the sun turns our patio into a lifeless hell, ready as a backup in case we had extra time. Also, the backstage area, 'cause remember, the thing spins around. And they have marked where the monitors on the other side would be. So you have monitors that will spin around with you. I didn't get to ride what I call the Carousel of Progress. And as you all might know, if you're familiar with Death at Disney World and Disneyland, there was a young lady who was crushed on the Carousel of Progress. So because of that, they don't let you ride on it when it turns around. I thought it would be cool if it turned around and I got to be on the other side. But one of the things I've done is backstage, they have it marked off to show you where the monitors will be when you turn around, the front monitors. And again, you have monitors with you that ride with you, and we tested those. I now know how much area I have to cover. So I would, like Ed's there. So I'd see Ed down on, backstage on one side, go, oh, Ed! And I would run over to talk to Ed, and while I'm running over to talk to him, I would count my footsteps. So now I know, okay, I can on this song, I can make it from here to there, and I can cover this area of the stage. So if you think it's spontaneous, I'm sorry. A lot of the stuff I do, some of it is live, some of it isn't. But it's good to do your homework, and this is my homework. So, yeah, so I'm backstage. I'm thinking about the audience, the people who paid. So if you paid, I'm running back and forth backstage covering the area for you. So, I hope you got your money's worth. Let me see. So we play the show. We do the show, and Ed and I had a plan, which was after the show, we're going to go see The Damned. And they keep doing this at festivals. They keep putting The Damned on right after us. And I never get time to pack up and see The Damned's entire set. In fact, I told the audience, I'm like, look, if you want to leave early, I'll go like this on the last song. You can leave early and go see The Damned. Won't hurt my feelings. I shouldn't have said that because Selector were on after the band for that song on the radio, and I think some of the crowd took off. I shouldn't have done that because Selector were amazing. I caught a bit of their set, and it was killer. So, Ed and I are going to go see The Damned. I get my stuff put away finally, and I run down the stairs, and Ed is talking to somebody. Someone I should have recognized automatically. It turned out to be John Siren, the drummer from one of my favorite bands of all time, IMX. So again, I should have packed this hat. This hat should have come with me. And I see him talking to him. I'm like, oh, hi. And I see he's got an IMX hat. And this is how out of it I am from the sun. I go, oh, this is a guy I've seen play a lot of times. I go, oh, I didn't bring my IMX hat. I should. And he's like, yeah, I'm John, the drummer. I'm like, yeah, I know. So that was great for me. Everybody else, good for you if you went to see the Misfits. But I got to meet John Siren, who I've never actually shaken. He was just walking around backstage. You could reach out and touch him if you wanted to. It was like, this is somebody whose band I love. I wish they'd been on the bill. So Ed and I go to see. We run over to see The Damned, and that's what I'm going to talk about next. Okay, as previously mentioned, Ed and I now make a beeline for The Damned. We're like, yeah! And we get over there, and Damned are playing outdoors. There's a big screen. You can see they're projecting everything on that. They're projecting their issues on the screen. And who is drumming for The Damned? Rat Scabies, okay? The last time I saw Rat Scabies drum for The Damned, I was a teenager. I am like, holy shit. I actually had, we were in LA once, and I was in my 20s, and we were playing the Roxy, and I was coming down the backstage area, the steps, and Rat Scabies was coming up. And I'm like, holy shit, you're Rat Scabies. And he's like, yes, I am, mate. Would you like to buy a drum kit? And I'm like, I don't know, Mr. Scabies. I don't really need a drum kit. He's like, it's only $100. I'm like, so the first time I met Rat Scabies, he tried to sell me a drum kit, which is, 2 drummer stories in one episode. There you go. So what happens is Damned just kill it. But the problem is the sun is killing us. So we run back into Ken and Danny, and we've been told about this VIP area. Again, I'm not a VIP person, but there's air conditioning and booze. And everybody's like, it's a good place to refresh. And I'm like, okay, I'll go there. So we sit down, and I start to, what happens is I start drinking these things. Unleash the Beast is what it's called. I'm looking over at my notes here. It's called Monster Nasty Hard Tea. I'm like, I'm going to unleash the beast. We're sitting around, and and Ken brings up a point. He's like, there's some bands here I want to see, but it's just fun to sit here with friends and drink and talk. And Steph is coming by, and Steph is having a great time, and she's getting booze for friends of hers and taking it around to them. And we're just, man, we are all really enjoying ourselves, and I'm getting to meet people. People are coming by, I'm saying hi, and I was talking about this, and I want to mention it. If you come up with me, to me, and I know it's the polite thing to do, ask if you can take a picture. Because it's okay if I take it. But let me tell you this, I got beat up every day in, like, junior high and high school. I got picked on a lot. If you want to take a picture with me, fine. It makes me feel great. I do. There's nothing I love more than posing for pictures with people. I really enjoy that. So yeah, please come up, say hi, and we'll take a picture together. I'm never in too bad of a mood to take a picture. The wrong time to ask me is, of course, when I'm trying to get my gear either set up or torn down. But anytime out of that space. So we all go out to see Iggy Pop, and there's like a VIP area. We can see Iggy Pop. And again, I'm not a VIP area guy. I did change that a little bit for this adventure. But we go into the VIP. We got to go to the VIP area. And I'm like, I don't normally do that. We go, and I'm glad we did. There's footage out there somewhere of Ken and I blitzed. Because I'd had a couple of these monster iced teas. We are blitzed watching Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop killed it. The version of Lust for Life that he did was absolutely amazing. Did the Passenger, the band he had was really, really tight. I'm really glad we went and did that because we got close to, where we could see him from the side, and it was just like, you're just looking like, there's Iggy Pop. So we get back to the house, which again ain't my damn house, and John is there. It is his house. He's hanging out. Jeff's there. John's brought pizza, which is so nice of him. We open up the wine that I bought earlier because they apparently couldn't go into my bag and find a corkscrew, and everybody's hanging out eating pizza from a place called Lucifer Pizza, which I thought was great. So that was that, and that was the extent of the trip. I wound up again staying up all night because I thought I was going to get murdered. I just stayed up all night and drank because we had to leave super early. We had to be up to and leave at 7:30 a.m. So I just stayed up all night, grabbed a shower, just crashed out in the communal area for a few minutes because I knew as soon as everybody came down to wake me up, I'd have coffee and we go. So you get the epilogue right now. Okay, so on the flight back home, I'm stuck in the middle seat again, but it wasn't nearly as bad. I finished the book I was reading. I finished Tell Me That I'm Worthless, and finally we land at 7, but I don't get home till 9-ish because it takes them forever to find our luggage. Just cursed on the seat. But I did get home, and my wife, while I was away, had done some redecorating around the house, and she did this wall. And why am I showing you this wall? Because this is my damn house.
On the evening of June 7th, the Dead Milkmen and our manager, Dave Reckner, flew from Philadelphia to Los Angeles. Then from LA, we drove to a spacious Airbnb in Covina, provided graciously by our friend John Schroeder, with 7 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and an out-of-tune piano. This is Jeff Fox. He's a roadie for today. We drove to the No Values Festival at the LA County Fairplex in Pomona, California, and got stuck in heavy traffic. We performed at 4:20 p.m. on the Gary Avenue stage. After our gear was set up, the stage revolved 180 degrees to face the audience. After the show, we retired to the Airbnb for pizza, wine, water, and laughs. We flew back home the next morning.